AAA is one thing, but now we're taking a closer look into the releases on the PC next year. Here are our list of top 25 upcoming PC games of 2020.
Is this guy invincible or something? My attacks, they're not working at all.
Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Farewell, Kakarot.
Bandai Namco's latest take on the well-loved Dragon Ball is confirmed to release on the PC too. Once called Project Z, Kakarot will take us through the life and times of Goku.
Majin Buu, huh?
An untenable and fearsome Majin.
Majin Buu's coming out!
While it's one we've seen plenty of times, this one will hopefully be presented in more innovative and detailed ways. Plenty of our iconic favorites will be joining the mix, both as supportive cast and actual playable characters.
You can take up to 2 support characters into battle, and each of them has a unique set of moves and techniques to back Goku up.
Their latest one gives us a brief look into the Majin Buu arc. All that and more coming this January 17th. Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Microsoft hit the jackpot with Ori's Metroidvania adventures, and now we're getting a part 2 to a storyline that successfully tugged at our heartstrings once before. In Will of the Wisps, we'll get to see Ori venturing out from their magical forest to forge adventures in the world beyond. From what we've seen in all their E3 presentations, it still feels like the same majestic, challenging, and tear-jerking platformer. Now, with more nimble movements and a host of new enemies, all of which we'll see on February 11th, 2020.
Warning, the Slayer has entered the facility.
Doom Eternal. It's a shame that it was delayed from its November release date, but we now got more to look forward to in 2020. Spreading out the realms of hell, the iconic Demon Slayer is broadening his horizons.
If you continue, you will bring down the heavens' wrath.
Not only is he bringing the fight to the equally garish monsters of the Pearly Gates, he's also going for a lot of new mobility at his disposal. That plus a multiplayer invasions mode where you get to play the demons themselves.
He's got heavy cannons, flamethrowers, and tons of health, all of which make him lethal in a close-quarters fight with the Slayer. While he's not the most mobile demon, his smoke bombs can obscure his position or flush out an elusive Slayer.
With that much in store, the new March 20th release date might just be worth it.
And this is Alan, old codger and veritable mad.
Watch Dogs Legion. Ubisoft is bringing new technology to the burgeoning revolution of their latest Watch Dogs installment. Legion doesn't fly too far in the future, but it's breaking boundaries by telling a story where every single person in the world can be utilized in inciting the uprising.
Welcome to the Resistance. It's up to you to build the perfect team and take the city back. The good news is that any Londoner could become your next recruit.
But there's also permadeath, which challenges you to take on more careful approaches to preserve special skills and characters. A new take on espionage, we'll see how it all unfolds when it comes out in the second half of 2020. Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 2. While it dates back from the tabletop games of White Wolf Publishing, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is a follow-up to the 2004 cult classic. Continue your vampiric adventures in the 21st century and settle into the underworld gloom of nighttime Seattle. Whoever you are, where you're from, and whatever you choose remains a massive part of Vampire's gameplay. Coming out this March 2020, the Fangs are definitely coming out. Mount and Blade 2, Bannerlord. The moment we've been waiting 10 years for. Their recent March 2020 announcement isn't going to be a full release just yet, but with so much invested in the coming of this medieval playground, we'll take just about anything. We know about their campaigns, factions, siege defenses, and putting our hands on it may either be a wonder or a disappointment. Bannerlord when? We don't know officially, but the early access is one we'll be itching to witness.
Where are we?
Our BBS, Data Fortress. Bridge to the deep net.
Cyberpunk 2077. Since CD Projekt Red has been breaking boundaries with their Witcher series, it's not a stretch to think they'll be doing the same with their latest IP.
Taking a casual stroll here would not be a good idea. A fast motorbike or armor-plated car would be the safer option.
They're showing us a new side of a cyberpunk dystopia in broad daylight, and one that feels populated, lived in, and so alive. Immersing us further with a first-person perspective, the choices are still all ours to make.
This is how a player investing in solo abilities might live out their Terminator power fantasy.
It's coming out April 16th.
Thor, Tony, check it out.
At once.
Try to keep up.
Marvel's Avengers. Marvel's Avengers isn't gonna be the cinematic universe we've come to love, but it'll show us a different side of the comic books with an original story that focuses on a completely new set of characters led by Kamala Khan, better known as Miss Marvel.
The Avengers were set up. Cap was murdered.
Think I don't know that? I've replayed that day in my head 1,000 times. Guess what? No one cares. The world needed someone to blame, and he gave them their scapegoat. So, unless you have some kind of astounding proof.
Set years after the death of Captain America, the Avengers may be in a fallout, but its gameplay still suggests a strong emphasis on co-op.
Gotta admit it, that was pretty impressive.
Surprised?
Ooh, cocky. I like that.
Crystal Dynamics is hoping to redefine the shakeup to the superhero genre, and we'll see how they do it when it comes out on May 15th. Werewolf: The Apocalypse, Earthblood. Another video game is coming out of the world that White Wolf Publishing established. Werewolf games are scarce, and now we get to finally take part in half-man, half-wolf action. As monsters with a deep connection with nature, Earthblood shows exactly that as it puts you in the shoes of a banished werewolf fighting a vampire-led corporation and the pestilence they bring. We haven't seen much in the way of gameplay, but we're expecting it to come to the level of Vampire the Masquerade in terms of choice and narrative. It's coming out sometime in second or third quarter of 2020. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Quarantine. Ubisoft's Tom Clancy series is taking on something kind of new. Set several years into the future of the Rainbow Six series, Quarantine explores the team's fight against a mutating alien parasite. We haven't seen much of the game aside from some scary teasers, but it's said to show off a brand new 3-player co-op which lets you get into gunplay and tactics with 2 other friends. With an early 2020 release window, we're expecting to hear more soon. Dying Light 2. The first Dying Light game may have had earned success despite its narrative simplicity. Dying Light 2 will focus on giving players the definitive sandbox experience they wanted to bring in the first game. Much more than ever, player choices will form a large part of gameplay. Building on a brand new engine, the city in Dying Light 2 isn't just 4 times bigger, it will also react to whatever decisions you make along the way. It comes out next spring.
We've had 5 mass extinctions, each caused by an extinction entity. And now it's time for number 6.
Death Stranding. Kojima's latest befuddling masterpiece has already released on the PS4, but it will be a while before it reaches PC shores. Sony has given Kojima the blank check for this game, and it's resulted in one of the most intriguing titles yet. People's feelings for this bold step of a video game is a little polarizing, but with an undetermined 2020 release window, PC Master Race will have to wait their turn.
Whoa, easy there, big guy. You're not...
Status report.
Status report? What?
Halo Infinite. Microsoft is pulling out all the stops, rolling out the red carpet for the return of Master Chief. While it was first announced in E3 2018, we finally got a lengthier dose of the title in E3 2019 with a 5-minute cinematic. As far as gameplay is concerned though, there's none of that so far. The only thing we know for sure is that it's not gonna have a Battle Royale mode, and it's gonna have Master Chief in center stage. It's currently slated for a holiday 2020 release window, and details about their beta testing periods will hopefully come through soon. Ready or not, everyone's been looking out for the eventual return of the SWAT series. Void Interactive takes the reins from Irrational Games with this new tactical first-person shooter that everyone's been calling SWAT 5. There won't be too much of mindless shooting in Ready or Not. Its stages require a bit of puzzle solving and knowledge of tactics and procedure. With so many ways of facing one dangerous criminal situation, you will get to decide exactly how you'll engage. It's this kind of freedom that everybody's been missing. With a late fourth quarter of 2020 release window, we still have a long wait to go. The Settlers. A lot of strategy classics are rising back up again, and this is one of them. Despite the years that have passed since their last main installment, the 2020 Settlers title is in good hands as it's still being handled by their original studio, Blue Byte. With the goal of creating a familiar Settlers title while being up to par with today's standards, it's gonna be a nostalgic treat for longtime fans. Build, explore, and conquer anew once it releases sometime next year. Microsoft Flight Simulator. While we're on the subject of returns, Flight Simulator was the throwaway reveal in Microsoft's E3 presentation, but it was anything but forgettable. A game that has its beginnings in the 70s, Flight Simulator makes a landing in the new generation with a hangar full of new features and improvements. For a game that needs realism to work, Microsoft gave this their signature superstar treatment, cranking the environment's scale and physics to 11. With 4K support to boot, this is gonna be one breathtaking simulation to beat, and it's coming out in 2020. Crusaders Kings III. With their second installment earning a spot on our list of top 25 strategies, we can't deny the hype for their coming third installment. In Crusaders Kings III, we get to witness even more of their signature medieval grand strategy, but with a bit more focus on RPG and the characters you build. Their UI will get some changes as developers aim to create a more user-friendly and approachable experience. This 2020, there's gonna be a lot of dynasties to create and babies to murder? Gods and Monsters. Ubisoft made an impression with their exploration of ancient Greece in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but its developers wanted to create something that was more in line with the mythology. This time, instead of gritty realism, we're getting what seems to be wondrous Breath of the Wild-like aesthetic. With just a trailer so far, it's hard to imagine what else lies in store for us here. It's coming out sometime in 2020. Knights of Honor 2: Sovereign. Chivalry isn't quite dead yet. Crusader Kings may have been conquering medieval grand strategies for a while now, but THQ Nordic conspires to take back the throne by helping resurrect a series that's laid dormant for 15 years. Back in the hands of Black Sea Games, Knights of Honor 2 will have the familiar decision-making of Paradox Interactive Games. Sure, and it sports vibrant new maps too. But KOH2 Strategies also promises to be more accessible, letting you decide to whether leave it all in the hands of your troops and jump straight into battle. It's set to release sometime in 2020. Humankind. Saga's also taking a shot at the 4X strategy. Developed by the same minds as the impressive 4X fantasy strategy Endless Legend, Amplitude Studios is taking on human history. Instead of just sticking to one civilization like the popular Civ series, Humankind will allow us to go through 6 different eras from the pages of our own history. It might just be Amplitude's magnum opus, as it brings to the fore all the things that made Endless Legend great while showing off an array of innovative features. It's coming out sometime in 2020.
Sing of the rage of Peleus' son, Achilles.
Total War Saga, Troy. Rage. Goddess, sing the rage of Peleus' son Achilles. The veterans of the strategy genre are taking a turn for the mythical. With Total War Saga, the series explores the events of the Trojan War through the arguably blind eyes of the great poet Homer. So far, we've seen some of the features of their campaign and also the legendary face-off of Achilles and Hector. Announced very recently, we're waiting to see more before its 2020 release. Witchfire. The astronauts are set to add another feather to their cap with this brand new game. Having already made Painkiller, Bulletstorm, and more recently, Vanishing of Ethan Carter, Witchfire, a gothic shooter, will be different. But if their old games are any indication, awesome. From what we've seen so far, it's a detailed look at 15th century Europe with a world of shooting magical creatures ahead of us. No release window yet, but it's coming out sometime in 2020. World of Warcraft, Shadowlands. Another one from this year's BlizzCon, World of Warcraft, one of their most enduring IPs, is getting a brand new expansion. Shadowlands' story takes us to the supposed end of it all, with an epic cinematic that shows the destruction of the legendary Helm of Domination.
Will set us all free.
Its greatest asset is perhaps its linear quality, which gives players a narrative end in the Maw and a Covenant. Explore the 5 new zones, raid new dungeons, and ascend the Tower of the Damned. It's coming out in 2020.
Hell is coming, brother. Hell is coming.
Diablo IV. This year's BlizzCon was tinged with the controversy around the Hong Kong bans, and perhaps this announcement came at just the right moment. Yes, we are getting a 4th installment to their long-running Diablo series, and we got a little more than a snippet. We have one 9-minute cinematic featuring the Blessed Mother, Lilith, and also a 24-minute look at the brutal Barbarian. It doesn't look too much of a jump from Diablo 3, but with more time in the oven and an unclear release window, it might just outlast today's trepidation.
A lot of lives are riding on what we do next.
You'll have to fight.
Overwatch 2. Overwatch is getting more than a few changes. A sequel that's not exactly a sequel, Overwatch 2 isn't planning to replace the original. Instead, it's reported to be a shared universe, not just in their many characters, but also in the way Overwatch 2 players share modes with players on the original. And it also means that progress from the original can be carried to the sequel. It really seems like Kaplan's doing right by their fanbase, and hopefully it all gets ironed out before their as yet unconfirmed release window. Far into development, it might just release before Diablo sometime in 2020.